evening sky above the Okafor estate glowed a deep orange, as if the sun itself lingered to bid farewell to a life whose flame was slowly dimming. The mansion, sprawling, old, and quietly majestic, sat on 10 acres of land in the outskirts of Enugu. Its high fences were lined with bougainvillea that climbed like stubborn memories, refusing to be pruned away. Inside, past polished marble floors and echoing hallways, a single room pulsed with the rhythm of a struggling heartbeat. That room belonged to Chief Dominic Chukwuemeka Okafor, once known as the Lion of Eastern Commerce, feared in boardrooms, admired in political circles, adored by the public, but forgotten by the very people whose names he carried in his heart. For 12 years, none of his children had visited. Not one. Only their voices occasionally floated through his phone, polite, distant, rushed. They spoke to him like a man who had already been buried, not one who still clung to life with stubborn dignity. But someone else came every day. Someone who saw him not as a billionaire, not as a title, not as a fading patriarch, but as a human being still deserving of care. That person was Nurse Ada Nkemikanam. Standing by his bedside now, Ada adjusted the drip, her movements calm and experienced. She wiped a bead of sweat from the chief's forehead, humming softly under her breath. Her soft singing voice had become the closest thing to comfort Chief Okafor knew. Her presence filled the room with a gentle warmth, the kind that didn't need words. She had been with him for 5 years of midnight fevers, 5 years of coaxing him through medication he hated, 5 years of listening to his regrets and quiet stories of old triumphs. She had seen him at his strongest and at his weakest. She had fed him, bathed him, encouraged him, prayed for him. And slowly, he grew to regard her as more than a nurse. She became the family he no longer had. "Daddy, try and drink a little," Ada said, lifting a cup toward his lips. He opened his tired eyes and managed a weak smile. "Nurse Ada, the only person who still calls me Daddy with meaning." She chuckled softly. "If I don't call you Daddy, who will? Your children?" "Humph." His voice cracked like brittle wood. "Those ones. They only call when they need something." Ada didn't answer. There were truths better left untouched. Chief Okafor took a sip, then sank into his pillow.
Ada, come and sit.
For a moment, he simply watched Ada. Her kindness, her dedication, the
Ada,
unusual
come and
combination
sit.
of firmness and tenderness she carried in her work. "Ada," he murmured, "come and sit."
Ada, come and sit.
Pulled the chair closer, settling beside him. His fingers trembled slightly as he reached for her hand. "I know my time is almost here," he whispered. Ada swallowed. She had seen the signs: the weakening pulse, the nights filled with labored breathing, the increasing fog in his once vibrant eyes. "You're strong, Daddy," she said, though even she knew strength had its limits. "We still have time." He smiled faintly. Time is something an old man senses better than a clock. A tense silence filled the room, not uncomfortable, but heavy with unspoken truths. Then, slowly, the chief turned his head to her. "Ada," he said again, voice softer than a sigh. "There is something I need to ask you." She straightened, expecting another request for water or medication. "What is it, Daddy?" His eyes held hers, but this time there was something different, an emotion raw and painful, something he had kept buried. "Ada, before I die, I have one last wish." Her heart squeezed. She leaned closer. "Tell me, Daddy. Whatever it is, I will try." He took a shaky breath, gathering strength not for speech, but for confession. "I am leaving this world with a loneliness that no wealth can cure," he began. "I built companies, raised children, conquered industries, but I never learned to love in my old age. Not even myself." Ada listened quietly, eyebrows knit with sympathy. "I don't want to leave this world feeling empty," he continued, his voice trembling. "I want to feel wanted, cherished, held. Just once before I go." Ada blinked slowly. Something inside her tightened. "Daddy, I'm not sure I understand." His next words struck her like the sudden snap of a bone. "Ada, my last wish is to be intimately held by you. To share warmth, closeness, affection. Just once. Before I close my eyes for the last time." The room froze. Silence thickened like smoke. Ada felt her pulse stutter, her breath catch, her entire world tilt. She had expected many things: requests for favorite meals, for prayers, for one more phone call to his children, but not this. "Daddy," she whispered, her throat dry. "I can't, this is not right. You're my patient." "Yes," he whispered, "and my only human connection left." Ada stood abruptly, her hands trembling. She moved to the other side of the room, needing space, air, distance from the weight of the request. For 5 minutes, she said nothing. Chief Okafor did not plead. He simply lay there, staring at the ceiling as if the request had lifted a burden off his chest, even if it placed a heavier one on Ada's. Her emotions spiraled: shock, guilt, protectiveness, compassion, confusion. She had cared for him like a father, but he had grown something deeper, a fragile longing born from isolation and impending death. When she finally turned to him, his expression wasn't lustful. It was lonely, desperate, human. "Ada," he said softly, "it is my dying wish, not a command. If you refuse, I will never hold it against you." Tears burned her eyes. This was a man weeks from death, a man abandoned by family, a man whose last request came not from desire, but from the fear of leaving the world untouched one last time. The softness of her heart battled the ethics of her profession. The compassion she lived by wrestled with the boundaries she upheld. Slowly, painfully, she walked back to his bedside. Her voice shook. I need time to think. He nodded, closing his eyes.
I understand.
I understand. That night, she stayed later than usual.
I need time to think.
She watched him sleep, watched his chest rise and fall with difficulty, watched the slow, fading strength of a man who once stood taller than mountains. At 2:17 a.m., he woke from a coughing fit, and Ada rushed to him, holding him upright, helping him breathe. In that moment, seeing his frail body lean into her for life, feeling the fragility of time slipping away, something inside her broke. Not out of desire, not out of obligation, but out of compassion, the greatest compassion she had ever shown. "Ada," he whispered again, voice barely audible. "I don't want to die feeling invisible." She placed her hand gently on his cheek. "Daddy, please sleep." He looked at her with the eyes of a man who had nothing left but hope. When she leaned forward and kissed his forehead, his breath caught not with excitement, but with gratitude. The moment stretched quiet, private, human. And in the hours that followed, under the soft gold of the bedside lamp, Ada granted him the emotional closeness he had pleaded for. And when the light went out, the rest unfolded in silence, unspoken, unseen, and forever sealed in the privacy of that room. The next morning, Ada stood by the window, watching the first rays of dawn break through the clouds. Her heart felt heavy, yet strangely peaceful. Behind her, Chief Okafor slept more peacefully than he had in months. Something had changed between them, not a romantic bond, not a forbidden affair, but a final act of compassion that only those who faced death together could understand. It was the beginning of a story Ada never imagined she would live, a story entwined with consequences she could never foresee. In 1 month, she would discover she was pregnant. In 2 months, the world would know Chief Okafor's final will. And in 3 months, the entire Okafor dynasty would erupt into war, one she alone had the strength to fight. The quiet hours of duty were over. A storm was coming. The morning after Ada granted Chief Okafor the emotional closeness he had pleaded for, the mansion felt strangely alive, almost relieved. As if the house itself sensed that something profound had shifted in the quiet of the previous night. Ada moved about her duties with calm precision. But beneath her composure lay a storm she wasn't ready to acknowledge. Her hands trembled when she adjusted the chief's pillows. Her breath caught when their eyes met. Not out of awkwardness, no. Something deeper. Something she couldn't yet explain. Chief Okafor, for the first time in months, looked rested. His eyes were clearer, his smile a little softer. He watched Ada with an intensity that no longer came from loneliness, but from gratitude. "Ada," he murmured as she helped him sit up. "You stayed." She nodded. "You needed someone." He chuckled weakly. "Ah, if only my children had half your heart, I would have lived a longer life." Ada tried to smile, but his words landed like stones in her heart. She knew his children's absence cut deeper than any illness. He reached for her hand. His skin was cool, fragile like thin paper. "You gave me something I never expected," he whispered. "Something no money could buy." Ada swallowed, unable to meet his eyes. "Daddy, please, let's just focus on getting you strong again." But he only smiled knowingly. "I will not get strong again. My spirit knows," he said, tapping his chest gently, "when the journey is ending." She said nothing. She had learned long ago that sometimes silence was the greatest kindness. By mid-morning, the family lawyer arrived. Barrister Nwachukwu, a tall man with an elegant beard and the weary grace of someone who had seen too many family wars, walked into the room with a leather folder pressed against his chest. Ada stepped aside, giving them space. "Chief," the barrister greeted softly. "You called for me urgently." Chief Okafor nodded. "Close the door." Ada hesitated. "Stay," Chief Okafor said. "I want you here." Her heart skipped. Barrister Nwachukwu took a chair. Chief, your voice sounded final.
You need to
Are
see
you sure?
this. It's urgent.
I am dying,
Oh,
the
no.
chief said plainly. And I must put my house in order. The barrister
to see
nodded
this.
grimly
It's
and
urgent.
opened the folder.
Oh no.
Ada stood by the window, trying not to listen. But every
You
word
need to
cut
see
through the
this.
air with
It's
clarity.
urgent.
I want
Oh,
to rewrite
no.
my will. The barrister blinked. Rewrite?
You
At
need
this
to
stage?
see this. It's urgent.
Yes, Chief replied
no.
firmly. Everything stays as it was except the portion belonging to my children. Nwachuku frowned. Sir, you willed equal shares of your companies to them. And look what that has earned me, Chief snapped. 12 years without a visit. He coughed violently. Ada rushed forward, holding him until the fit passed. When he could speak again, he reached for her hand. My children abandoned me. But this woman, he looked up at Ada with a softness that made her chest tighten, gave me 5 years of loyalty, care, and compassion no blood relative ever gave. Nwachuku hesitated. Chief, what exactly do you want me to change? Chief Okafor inhaled shakily. I want all my properties, the estates, the companies, the accounts willed to Nurse Ada and Kemikanam. The room went silent. Ada froze. The barrister's pen dropped. Chief, this is enormous. Your children. My children, Chief interrupted sharply, will receive shares. Enough to maintain them. But the control, the ownership, authority, and leadership goes to Ada. Ada's knees weakened. She shook her head violently. No, Daddy. Please. This is too much. I can't accept this. Chief squeezed her hand. You can, because you deserve it. Tears prickled her eyes. I was just doing my job. And yet you gave me more than my children ever did. The barrister cleared his throat. Chief, Ada being the CEO of all your businesses will create a storm. Chief Okafor nodded. Let the storm come. But let it be known that I made the decision with a sound mind.
I don't know how
Ada
much
tried
time
to
I
speak
have
again,
left.
but her voice failed.
But before I go,
Chief
I
looked
want
at
you
her
to promise
gently.
me one thing.
Child, do you
I
think I
don't
am
know how
rewarding
much
you
time
for
I have
one night?
left.
He shook his head.
But before I go,
No,
I want you to
that would
promise me
cheapen
one
both
thing.
of us.
Any-
She
I
looked
don't know
away.
how much time I have
I am
left.
rewarding you, he continued.
But before I go,
for
I
5
want you
years
to
of
promise me
humanity.
one thing.
Any-
For 5
I
years
don't
of
know how much
refusing
time
to
I have
treat me
left.
like a burden.
But
For
before I
staying
go,
when every
I
other
want you to
person
promise me
abandoned
one
me.
thing.
any-
Silence wrapped the room. Write the will, he commanded. Barrister Nwachuku nodded slowly and began drafting the document, his pen scratching across paper like the whisper of fate being rewritten. By noon, the will was completed, signed, and sealed. The chief sank back onto his pillows, exhausted but peaceful. Ada, he said softly. Come. She sat beside him. I don't know how much time I have left. But before I go, I want you to promise me one thing. She brushed a tear from her cheek. Anything. When I am gone, do not allow my children to bully you. You are stronger than you think. Ada nodded, though fear curled in her stomach. And promise me, he added, voice fading, that you will take care of my legacy. Led my companies with the heart you served me with. Her voice cracked. I promise, Daddy. He closed his eyes. That evening, Ada walked to her small room in the servant quarters. She sat on her bed, replaying everything, the request,
What
the
have I
night,
gotten
the
myself
will,
into?
the responsibility now looming over her life like a mountain. She pressed her palm against
have
her
I
stomach,
gotten myself
feeling an
into?
odd tightness there, but she shrugged it off as stress. What have I gotten myself
What
into?
have I
She
gotten
whispered.
myself into?
But deep inside, she knew the truth. Her life had changed forever. 2
What
weeks
have I
passed.
gotten myself
Chief
into?
Okafor declined rapidly. His lungs weakened. His appetite disappeared. His body seemed to shrink into the bed. Ada stayed with him every day. One night, he held her hand and whispered, I am ready. She cried silently as he drifted into sleep. By morning, Chief Okafor, the lion of Eastern commerce, the man who built an empire from dust, was gone. Ada closed his eyes with trembling hands. I will keep your promise, she whispered. I will not fail you. The news spread like wildfire. The children returned for the first time in 12 years. Not to mourn, not to cry, not to bury, but to demand. And when the will was read, the mansion erupted like thunder. What nonsense is this? She bewitched him. A nurse? A common nurse? This will is fate. You think we will allow this? Never. Hello guys. Thank you for watching this video till now. Please share your thoughts about Chief Okafor dying wish. We will be waiting to hear from you in the comments. Please take the time to click on the subscribe button to see more of our stories. Thank you. Let's continue with our story. But Ada stood still, her face pale but resolute. In that moment, she remembered his words. Do not allow my children to bully you. She lifted her chin. Your father's will stands, she said firmly. No amount of shouting will change it. They glared at her with venom. You will regret this, the eldest son spat. Ada felt her heart hammering, but refused to back down. She glanced at the sealed documents in her hand, the official will, the legal signatures, the recorded declarations. This wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a war waiting to happen, and she was at the center of it. Exactly 1 month after the chief's death, Ada fainted during a routine checkup. The hospital confirmed it. She was pregnant, with Chief Okafor's child. The storm that followed would shake the entire Okafor dynasty to its foundation. But Ada would rise, because the lion's legacy now lived in her, and in the tiny heartbeat growing inside her. The Okafor mansion had never known silence, not even during the chief's illness. But after his burial, the quiet that settled over the estate was different, hostile, charged, waiting. Like the pause before lightning struck. For Ada, the mansion no longer felt familiar. Every hallway, every corner, every pair of watching eyes felt dangerous. The children, now grown adults, hovered around the property like eagles circling prey. They spoke in hushed tones, met with strange lawyers, and watched Ada with suspicion sharpened into hatred. She could feel their anger like heat behind her back. Their resentment followed her everywhere. But she remembered her promise to the chief. So she walked with her head high. It all began the morning after the burial. Barrister Nwachukwu had arrived to begin the official transfer of properties, bringing with him documents stamped with government seals. Ada sat with him in the study, the same study where the chief once signed billionaire contracts with a steady hand. Now everything felt strange. Too big. Too heavy. Ada, the barrister began gently, before we proceed, you must understand that the children will fight this. They will try every method, legal and otherwise. She nodded. I'm ready. You think you are, he said carefully, but this family is powerful, and they will not accept being sidelined by someone they consider beneath them. Ada exhaled deeply. I didn't ask for any of this. I know, he said, but the chief gave it because he trusted you. He pushed a stack of documents toward her. She signed them with trembling fingers. When she finished, he sealed them in an envelope.
You are now officially the Chief Executive Officer of Okafor Group of Companies.
Ada stared blankly at the words. CEO. Her. The title felt surreal. She, who grew up in a modest 2-room apartment. She who struggled through nursing school. She, who spent 5 years serving a man she never imagined would change her life. She didn't feel like a CEO. She felt like an intruder in someone else's story. But she also felt the chief's presence, quiet, urging, reassuring. He believed in me, she whispered. The barrister nodded. And that belief will be tested. The test arrived sooner than expected. The door of the study burst open without warning. 3 of the chief's adult children stormed inside. Chuka, the hot-tempered eldest son, Ifeoma, the sharp-tongued middle daughter, and Hugo, the unpredictable youngest child. What is going on here? Chuka demanded, his voice loud enough to fill the entire house. Barrister Nwachukwu stood slowly. I'm conducting official confirmation of the property transfer. To her, Ifeoma scoffed, pointing at Ada as if she were a stray animal. Is this a joke? A nurse. Ada sat still, her hands clasped tightly on her lap. Hugo stepped closer, leaning across the table. Tell me, Ada, what exactly did you do to our father? The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Ada didn't flinch. I took care of him. Lies. Ifeoma snapped. You think we will allow you to manipulate him in his dying moments? I did not manipulate him, Ada said firmly.
His mental faculties
Your
were
father
intact,
made
and I personally
decisions
verified
with a
it before
clear
preparing the
mind.
will.
Chuka slammed his hand on the table. He was
His
sick,
mental faculties were
not
intact,
mentally,
and I personally verified
the
it before
barrister
preparing the will.
calmly. His mental faculties were intact, and I
His mental
personally
faculties were
verified
intact,
it
and I
before
personally
preparing
verified
the
it before
will.
preparing the will.
Chuka glared.
Conspiracy.
You are part of this conspiracy.
You are part of
This is no conspiracy,
This is no conspiracy,
Nwachukwu
Nwachukwu replied.
It is the
It
law.
is the law.
The silence that followed
You are
was
part
thick
of
and
conspiracy.
electric.
This is
Then
no
Ifeoma
conspiracy,
laughed
Nwachukwu
cruelly.
replied.
So,
It is the
Nurse
law.
Ada, while our father lay dying, you convinced him to hand over everything he worked for? Or did you comfort him into signing the will? Ada felt her throat tighten, but she didn't react. That only made them angrier. Chuka leaned forward. We are giving you one chance to withdraw your claim. Take the servant quarters, take whatever money he paid you, and leave this property today. And if I refuse? Ada asked quietly. Ifeoma's smile vanished. Then we will destroy you. That night, Ada lay awake in her small room. Sleep refused to come. The chief's words echoed in her mind. Do not allow my children to bully you. You are stronger than you think. She hugged her pillow and whispered into the darkness. Daddy, I wish you were here. But she wasn't alone. A new presence grew within her, silent, tiny, but powerful. Her hand drifted to her stomach. She still hadn't told anyone about the pregnancy. Not even the barrister. Not yet. She wasn't ready for another battle. 2 days later, the storm intensified. At exactly 9 a.m., Ada was called to the living room, where the children sat with 4 lawyers, several estate representatives, and 2 angry relatives who had flown in from abroad. The atmosphere felt like a battlefield. Nwachukwu arrived moments later, giving Ada a reassuring glance. Chuka stood. This meeting is to challenge the will. You cannot challenge a valid will, the barrister replied calmly. We can, Chuka barked, because we believe Ada coerced or manipulated our father. Ada's jaw tightened. I did no such thing.
You expect us to believe he simply handed you billions out of kindness? 911 him.
Ifeoma asked, voice dripping with venom. I cared for him, Ada replied steadily, when nobody else did. That statement pierced the room. Even some relatives looked away. Hugo chuckled bitterly. And now you want to enjoy the fruits of your caring. ABI? Nwachukwu slammed a document on the table. The chief made video statements confirming his wishes. Twice. Both recorded in front of witnesses. A ripple of shock went through the room. Video? Witnesses? The siblings hadn't expected that. Nwachukwu opened a laptop and played the footage. There, on the screen, lay Chief Okafor frail but mentally sharp. I, Chief Dominic Chukwuemeka Okafor, hereby declare that Nurse Aiden Kemikanam shall inherit my entire estate and oversee all my businesses. His voice was weak but clear, confident, intentional. The room was silent, utterly defeated. Ada felt tears sting the corners of her eyes, not out of triumph, but out of remembrance. That was the chief. She knew the man of his word. When the video ended, Nwachukwu spoke. The will is valid, legally binding, and unshakable. The children looked destroyed. But hatred is a stubborn fire. This is not over, Chuka growled. He stormed out. Ifeoma followed. Hugo stayed, glaring at Ada for a long, unsettling moment before muttering, You will regret this, and leaving too. Ada closed her eyes, breathing carefully. The war had officially begun.
Right?
That evening, as she walked back to her room, she noticed something strange. Her vision blurred, and a wave of dizziness hit her so hard she had to hold onto the wall. Ada, Nwachukwu rushed to her side. Are you all right? She nodded weakly. I just need to sit. But he didn't look convinced. You look pale. Have you eaten?
You look pale.
I'm fine. But she wasn't. He escorted her to her room, and when she sat down, he studied her more closely. Something is wrong, he said quietly. Are you hiding something? Her heart raced. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then finally whispered, Barrister, I need to tell you something. Something big. He leaned closer. What is it? Ada pressed her hand against her stomach. I'm pregnant. The barrister froze. Pregnant,
I'm
he repeated
pregnant.
slowly. Ada, is it the chief's?
Is it the
She nodded.
chief's?
The barrister sank into a chair, rubbing his forehead. This changes everything. Ada's voice trembled. I know. He looked at her with a mixture of shock, concern, and calculation. Ada, once they find out, the children will not stop at legal battles. She swallowed hard.
We'll come for you.
What will they do?
And for the child. Then when they
Nwachukwu
find
stood,
out,
his
the children will
expression
not stop
grim.
battling back.
They will come for you, he said.
We'll
And for
come
the
for you.
child.
And for the
Ada
child.
pressed a
Then what
hand over her mouth, trembling. Then what do I do? The barrister exhaled deeply. You prepare for the fight of your life, he said. Because the real war is only beginning. The next morning, the air in the Okafor mansion felt colder than usual. The staff whispered as Ada walked past them. Some lowered their gazes respectfully. Others looked at her with apprehension, fearful of being caught in the crossfire between her and the chief's children. But Ada walked with steady steps. She had cried until dawn. She had prayed until her voice broke. She had asked herself 1,000 times if she was strong enough for what lay ahead. And every time, the answer returned in the faint but steady flutter inside her belly. Yes, she had someone else to protect now. The first attack came before noon. Ada was sitting in the living room, reviewing a stack of documents for her newly assumed responsibilities.
Your eviction notice.
When the front doors burst open. Chuka and Ifeoma stormed in, followed by 2
Your
uniformed
eviction
police
notice.
officers. Ada's eyes widened. What is this? She asked calmly. Chuka
Your
smirked.
eviction notice.
Your eviction notice. One of the officers stepped forward. Madam Aiden Kemikanam, we have been instructed to escort you off the premises. Ada stood slowly, her hands trembling despite her controlled expression. On what grounds? Chuka crossed his arms triumphantly. On grounds that you forged our father's will. Ada inhaled sharply. That is a lie. It's a petition, Ifeoma said coldly. And until investigations are complete, you have no right to remain here. Ada's pulse spiked. The mansion belongs to me now. Chuka stepped forward, voice hard. Not until the court confirms the validity of the will. And trust me, we will win. The police officer cleared his throat. Please, madam. We need you to come with us peacefully. Ada's mind raced. This was a trap. A very intentional trap. But before she could respond, another voice cut through the tension. I'd like to see the officer in charge of this arrest. Barrister Nwachukwu walked in, carrying a briefcase, calm but visibly irritated. He approached the officers and spoke quietly but firmly. Within minutes, both officers looked uncomfortable. Sir, one officer said nervously, we were told this was a clear-cut case. It is not, the barrister said. The will has already been certified and registered. You have no right to evict her without a court order. Chuka snapped. We will get a court order. Then get it first, Nwachukwu replied coldly. For now, remove yourselves from this property. The officers exchanged glances, then reluctantly backed away. As they left, Chuka hurled a final threat. This is not over, Ada. We will drag you to hell. Ada inhaled slowly,
You're carrying
refusing to
pride
show
on your
fear.
head like Gilly.
I won't
Just
be
wait.
intimidated. Ifeoma's eyes narrowed.
I won't be
You're carrying
intimidated.
pride on your
You're
head
carrying
like
pride
Gilly.
on your head like Gilly.
Just wait.
Just wait.
They stormed out.
We will drag you to
Barrister
hell.
Nwachukwu
I
sighed
won't be
heavily once the
intimidated.
doors
You're carrying
closed.
pride on your head like
Ada,
Gilly.
this is
Just
only
wait.
the beginning.
We will
She
drag
nodded
you to hell.
slowly.
I won't
I know.
be intimidated.
Later that
You're carrying
evening,
pride on your head
Ada
like
left the
Gilly.
mansion
Just
for the
wait.
first time since the burial. She needed air,
Ada, I
a
need to
break
know
from
how
the
far this
poison-filled
situation truly
environment.
goes.
What
She
do you
headed
mean?
to the barrister's office, where he spread a new set
Ada,
of
I
legal
need to know how
documents
far
across
this
his
situation
desk.
truly goes.
Ada,
What do you
he
mean?
began. I need to know how far this situation truly
Ada,
goes.
I need to know how far this
She
situation
blinked.
truly goes.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
He
We
clasped
must
his
discuss
hands
it
together.
strategically.
The
I haven't
chief's
even
pregnancy.
accepted it fully
We
myself.
must
I understand
discuss
he
it
softened,
strategically.
but Ada, it changes
Ada's
everything.
breath
We must
hitched.
discuss it
I
strategically.
haven't even accepted
I
it
haven't
fully
even accepted
myself.
it fully myself.
I understand.
He softened, but
He
Ada,
softened.
it changes everything. He will
But
attempt
Ada,
to file
it
injunctions.
changes everything.
He will argue coercion.
He pointed at the
He will try to
file.
freeze all
If
estate
the children
assets.
find
They will
out
do
too
anything.
soon,
He will
they will
attempt to
claim
file
the child is
injunctions. They
illegitimate.
will argue coercion.
They will attempt
will
to
try
file
to freeze all
injunctions.
estate assets.
They will
will do
argue
anything.
coercion.
They will attempt
They
to
will
file
try to freeze
injunctions.
all
They
estate
will argue
assets.
coercion.
They will
try
do
to freeze all
anything
estate
to
assets.
keep this
They will
from
do
turning into
anything.
evidence that supports your claim as sole heir. Ada's hand slid protectively over her belly. So what do I do? For now, you must keep the pregnancy confidential. At least until the first trimester is over. Ada nodded, though fear trembled inside her. The barrister continued. We will file a motion in court
You will be
tomorrow.
acknowledged
You will
publicly
be
as the
acknowledged
CEO.
publicly as the CEO.
And we will
And we
request a restraining order against the
order
children.
against the children. Ada felt both comforted and overwhelmed. Barrister, is this really necessary? Yes, he said. Because the children are not merely angry. They are desperate. And desperation is dangerous. Ada's fear deepened. They won't hurt me, will they? Nwachukwu hesitated. Too long. That silence chilled Ada more than any words. By nighttime, she returned to the mansion and found one of the housemaids, Chioma, waiting anxiously at her door. Auntie Ada, please come quickly. Ada's heart dropped. What
Auntie
happened?
Ada, please come
Chioma
quickly.
swallowed nervously.
What happened?
Someone broke into
your room.
Ada froze.
Auntie
She
Ada,
rushed
please come
inside.
quickly.
Her room
What
had been
happened?
ransacked. Her clothes
Someone broke
were
into
scattered
your room.
everywhere. Her bedside drawer was turned upside down. Her medications and vitamins had been emptied onto the floor. Her heartbeat went wild. Who did this? Ada whispered. Chioma shook her head. We don't know. But I heard voices near your door earlier. I think it was one of the chief's children. Ada's breath trembled. Did they steal anything? Chioma hesitated. Only one thing, Ma. The pregnancy supplements you bought. Ada's blood ran cold. They knew. Someone knew. Or at least suspected. She gripped the edge of the bed to steady herself.
They want proof.
Her vision blurred.
They want to
They
confirm
want
something.
proof, she whispered. They want to confirm something. Chioma swallowed. Auntie, you must be careful. Ada nodded shakily. That night, she pushed her wardrobe against the door before sleeping. Her hand never left her belly.
They want
She whispered
proof.
prayers into her
They
pillow
want to confirm
until sleep
something.
swallowed her tears. The next morning, court day arrived. The courtroom was full lawyers, extended family members, curious journalists, and the chief's children who sat glaring daggers at Ada. She sat beside Barrister Nwachukwu, her hands on her lap, her chin raised. She would not be intimidated. The judge entered. The session began. The children's lawyer stood first. My lord, we stand before you with deep concern. Our client's father, Chief Okafor,
was manipulated in his final moments. We seek to temporarily
halt the property transfer to the nurse. Nwachukwu stood.
My lord,
the will is valid. The video evidence confirms the chief was of sound mind. The judge held up a hand. Enough. I have reviewed the evidence. The will stands for now. Ms. Ada remains the rightful heir pending further hearing. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Ada exhaled in relief. But it was short-lived. The judge continued. However, due to the growing tension between both parties, I am issuing a temporary injunction.
Ms. Ada will remain CEO.
The judge looked at her
She will remain in control of
Ms. Ada will remain CEO.
I'm issuing a temporary injunction.
She will remain in control
Ms. Ada
of
will
the
remain
estate,
CEO.
but she must
will remain in
vacate the
control of
Okafor mansion for her safety. Gasps filled the room. Ada's eyes widened. Chuka smirked. Ifeoma crossed her arms triumphantly. Furthermore, the judge added, the children are forbidden from approaching her within 200 meters, pending investigation. Now it was Ada's turn to smirk inwardly. The judge slammed the gavel. Case adjourned. Outside the courtroom,
you're running away with your tail between your legs.
Surrounded by security
No, I'm leaving because the judge said it is safer for me.
You're running away with your tail between your legs.
No, I'm leaving because the judge said it is safer for me.
You're running away with your tail between your legs.
It is safer for me.
No, I'm leaving because the judge said it is safer for me.
You think this is a victory, he sneered. You haven't seen anything yet. Ada touched her stomach gently. Neither have you. She walked away. For the first time, she felt something burn inside her, not fear. Strength. She would not be crushed. She would not be intimidated. She was fighting not just for herself, but for a legacy growing within her. The news spread like Harmattan fire. Nurse inherits billionaire's empire. Chief Okafor's children allege manipulation. Is this loyalty or betrayal? Every blog, newspaper, and radio station had something to say. Some painted Nurse Ada as an angel blessed by fate. Others called her a schemer who took advantage of a dying man. But behind the noise, there was one unavoidable reality: the battle for Chief Okafor's legacy had begun. The first court case was scheduled for early Monday morning at the Federal High Court, and by the time Ada's car approached the massive iron gates, reporters swarmed like bees drawn to spilled sugar.
Madam Ada, did you seduce the chief?
Is it true you manipulated an old man? How did you get pregnant for a dying billionaire? Did you drug him? What was your motive for accepting his dying wish? Security struggled to hold the crowd back. Ada stepped out of the car dressed in a simple but elegant navy blue gown. No jewelry, no flashy makeup. Her calm presence contrasted sharply with the frenzy around her. Nurse Ada had always been a private woman, content with silence and duty. But today, silence felt like an anchor that might drown her. She drew a long breath and walked confidently toward the court entrance. Inside, the courtroom buzzed with quiet whispers. Journalists occupied every corner. Lawyers polished their glasses. Spectators eyed Ada as though she carried a forbidden secret. To the left, she saw them Chief Okafor's children. Ebel, Uchenna, Chidebere, Ngozi. Their eyes were cold. No grief, only anger. And perhaps guilt buried too deep to admit. Ebel, the eldest, stood with his arms folded tightly. His suit was expensive, his expression stern enough to cut through stone. He didn't blink as Ada took her seat. She had seen that look before on people who never believed they could lose anything. Their lead lawyer, Barrister Naji, a tall, stern-looking man with a reputation for ruthless litigation, leaned forward to shake hands with them. The message was loud. They had money, numbers, and influence. But Ada had truth, and Chief Okafor's will. Her lawyer, Barrister Ozioma, adjusted her glasses. She was a woman in her mid-30s, known for her calm brilliance and courtroom composure.
Are you nervous?
Are you nervous?
No.
She whispered to
I'm
Ada.
determined.
Ada
Good.
swallowed.
Because this
No,
is only the
I'm
beginning.
determined. Ozioma smiled softly. Good. Because this is only the beginning. When the judge finally entered, the air thickened with anticipation.
All rise.
All rise. Everyone stood.
You may be seated.
Justice Ibrahim Musa, known for intolerance toward emotional theatrics, took his seat. You may be seated. The first case began. The attack begins. Barrister Naji launched the opening argument with the confidence of a man who expected an easy victory.
My lord, this so-called will is a forgery,
Fabrication.
a fabrication,
An insult to the memory of Chief Dominic Chukwudi Okafor. We intend to prove that Nurse Ada manipulated the late chief in his vulnerable state, seduced him, and coerced him into signing away his properties. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Ada's fingers tightened around her bag. Naji continued, We have evidence
medical reports that show that the chief was mentally unfit in his final weeks. We will demonstrate that he could not have voluntarily made such a decision.
Not have voluntarily made such a drastic decision. Ada felt her breath tremble. She remembered that week he had been weak, yes, but mentally sharp. He knew what he was doing. Her lawyer rose calmly to respond. My lord, we will present the actual medical files from Chief Okafor's files that clearly state he was mentally alert, oriented, and fully aware of his decisions. We also have video recordings from the chief himself. And most importantly, the will was signed in the presence of witnesses who have no allegiance to Ms. Ada. A wave of whispers rippled through the courtroom. The judge nodded. Proceed with evidence. The children's testimonies. One by one, the children took the stand to paint Ada as a cunning gold digger.
She manipulated everyone to get what she wanted. Ada is nothing but a cunning gold digger. Her true colors are finally showing.
She tricked him with fake affection. Chidebir added, we are sure she took advantage of his illness. Each testimony was dramatic, emotional, and hollow. The judge asked a simple question. When last did any of you visit your father? Silence.
When last did any of you visit your father? My lord, visitation is not an answer.
12 years ago, my lord.
When last did any of you visit your father? My lord, visitation is not an answer.
12 years ago, my lord.
12 years. Yet you accuse someone who was with him every single day of manipulation?
Disbelief heavy in his tone. Yet you accuse someone who was with him every single day of manipulation? No one responded. Ada's eyes filled with quiet tears, not out of sadness, but out of relief. Truth was shining through. The witnesses arrive. Next, the court called in the unexpected witnesses, the staff of the mansion. John, the elderly gateman,
my lord, Nurse Ada na angel.
My lord, Nurse Ada
Chief always this way. He loved her like
care
family.
Of Chief like her own papa. The children? Dem no even day call. Mary, the cook, added. Chief always say, Ada is the child my children refuse to be. He loved her like family. Then came the biggest surprise. Chief Okafor's personal doctor, Dr. Corrode. My lord, the chief was mentally stable
until his final week.
He discussed the will with me personally. He told me why he was leaving everything
the chief
to
was
Nurse
mentally
Ada.
stable
He said, and I quote,
until his final week.
She gave me
he
life
discussed
when
the will
my
with
own
me
blood
personally.
abandoned me. Gasps filled the courtroom again. Ebel glared furiously at the doctor, but the man stood unbothered. The video. Barrister Ozioma stood.
My lord, we would like to present final evidence.
His voice was soft, but steady.
A large screen flickered to life. There he was, Chief Okafor, lying on his bed, frail but alert. His voice was soft but steady.
If anyone is watching this, it means my time has come.
I want it on record that I, Chief Dominic
Okafor, and leave fully aware of my decisions. I am fully aware of my decisions. I leave my estate to Nurse Ada, not because I am more than them.
I know what people will say, but I stand by this decision. She deserves everything. Ada covered her mouth as tears rolled down her cheeks. The courtroom was silent. Even journalists lowered their cameras. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Naji,
do you still claim manipulation?
The lawyer fumbled. My lord,
we need to verify the authenticity. The forensic team already has. This video is legitimate. She bewitched him.
This video is legitimate. Ebel slammed his fist on the table in frustration. She bewitched him. The judge banged his gavel. One more outburst, and I will charge you for contempt. The verdict. After hours of deliberation, the judge returned. Courtroom silence deepened. This court finds
that the will of Chief Dominic Chapo was executed lawfully.
All properties, companies, assets, and accounts remain under the ownership of Ms. Ada Chidimanwosu. Ada gasped. The judge continued. The late chief's children shall be granted minority shares in specific companies for the sake of familial recognition, but management, leadership, and controlling power belong solely to Ms. Ada. Naji's shoulders dropped in defeat. Ebel's eyes burned with a mixture of rage and helplessness. But Ada? She felt light as though 10 years of fear had fallen off her shoulders. The judge concluded. Ms. Ada, may you honor the trust the chief placed in you. And
that was it. Victory not just for Ada, but for truth.
After the storm, as Ada stepped out of the courtroom, the crowd erupted into shouts, flashes, and questions. But this time she didn't shrink back. She stood tall. She walked with purpose. She was no longer just a nurse. She was now Ada Chidimanwosu, CEO of Okafor Holdings, guardian of a legacy. But deep in her chest, she felt the stir of a new fear. Now that she had won the empire, how would she protect it? Because the battle was not over. Not even close. The first thing Ada noticed the morning after the court victory was the silence. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of grief, but the silence of a new chapter beginning, one she had never imagined for herself. Sunlight filtered through the curtains of the mansion she once entered only as a caregiver. Now, as she stood in the grand hallway of Chief Okafor's estate, she felt the air shift around her. Every wall, every framed photograph, every marble step whispered responsibility. The house was no longer a place she reported to for work. It was home, a home built on loyalty, sacrifice, and an unexpected love for a man who had trusted her more than anyone else did. Ada drew a deep breath and placed a hand over her belly. The child growing inside her seemed to respond, nudging faintly. That gentle movement reminded her that her battles were no longer just for herself. She was fighting for the future of this unborn child, a child who carried the bloodline of a man whose own children abandoned him. The thought strengthened her spine, but even as the morning embraced her with quiet hope, Ada knew the truth. The shadows of conflict were far from gone. A house divided. The first confrontation came in the afternoon. Ada's new head of security, Mr. Ajayi,
Madam, the children are
approached her
here,
with a worried
all of them.
expression.
Let
Madam,
them in.
the children are here. All of them. Her heart tightened. Let them in. A few minutes later, Ebel, Ngozi, Uchenna, and Chidebere entered the living room. Their expressions were carved with bitterness, though their clothes suggested they came ready for negotiation, not destruction. Ebel was the first to speak. So, it seems you've won. Congratulations.
So, it seems you've won.
His voice was sharp enough to slice the glass. Ada stayed calm. I didn't win anything. This is not a competition. And this, she gestured around the mansion, was your father's choice. Ngozi scoffed. A choice you influenced. No, Ada said steadily. A choice your absence influenced. Silence fell. Ebel clenched his jaw. We did not come here to fight.
Our lawyers told us
told us
judgment.
to accept
But we
the
have
judgment.
questions. Yes.
But we have questions.
So you really...
Starting with you're pregnant. Ada nodded once. Yes. Chidebere muttered a curse under his breath. So you really... Ada's voice cut through the air, gentle but firm. Your father was
a new man. He was hurt. Abandoned. I
did not
take
trick him.
So what
and
happened
I will
is
never
now.
reveal details of something so personal. But I will say this. He made his choices fully aware. Something in her tone softened them only slightly. Ngozi swallowed. So, what happens to us now?
What
Ada
happens
breathed
now
deeply
is
before
peace,
speaking.
if you want it.
What happens now is peace, if you want it.
We were wrong.
You all have shares in some companies. You still have roles in your father's legacy. I'm not here to erase you. Ebel sat down slowly, looking exhausted rather than angry. We were wrong. Ada blinked, surprised. He continued. Maybe we failed him. We were caught up with our own lives. We thought he would always be there. Ngozi wiped her eyes discreetly. Uchenna spoke next. Ada, we can't change the past, but we can choose what happens moving forward. Ada nodded. I want unity. I want this child to grow up without hostility. And your father wanted the same. For the first time, their eyes dropped in genuine remorse. It didn't fix everything, but it was a start. The weight of power. Days turned into weeks, and the media frenzy began to cool. The noise of accusations and public debate slowly faded, replaced by curiosity and respect. Everywhere Ada went, people greeted her with a mix of admiration and awe. Nurse Ada, Madam CEO, Madam, we day proud of you, oh. But admiration came with expectation. And expectation came with burden. Ada quickly realized that controlling an empire was far more difficult than caring for a sick man. Meetings ran from early morning to late night. Files piled up on her desk. The heads of companies came to her daily, some shocked at having a young woman as their new boss, others quietly resistant. One afternoon, after hours of meetings, Ada sank into her leather chair, exhausted. Chief, she whispered to the empty room, you didn't prepare me for this part. But even as she spoke, she felt his presence not physically, but in the steady courage he always encouraged in her. She rubbed her belly again. I promise I won't fail you. The children returned. 3 months later, something surprising happened. Chief Okafor's children began visiting the mansion regularly. Not for wealth, not to fight, but to reconnect with their father's memory and with the future sibling growing inside Ada. They slowly warmed to her. Their conversations became less tense, their faces less hostile. Ngozi often brought baby clothes. Chidebere fixed things around the house. Uchenna began visiting the companies to actually work. And Ebel, once the coldest, grew into a silent protector of Ada. It was as though guilt had awakened responsibility in them. One evening, after a board meeting, Ebel approached Ada. I still hate how everything happened, he admitted. But I don't hate you. I see the truth now. And I want to help, if you will let me. Ada nodded. I will. They shook hands in an act that signified the healing of a fractured family. As Ada's due date approached, the mansion buzzed with life again. The staff, the children, and even board members prepared for the arrival of the newest Okafor. To their surprise, Ada worked until the very last week, attending meetings, signing contracts, and overseeing projects. She was building something not just a company, but a future. Late one night, her labor pains began. The delivery room was filled with anxious faces, doctors, nurses, and Chief Okafor's children waiting outside. Hours later, the cry of a newborn pierced the night. A healthy baby boy, the doctor announced with a gentle smile. Ngozi burst into tears.
Welcome, my love.
Ebel closed his eyes in relief. The boys hugged each other silently. Ada held her son close, tears streaming down her cheeks. Welcome, my love, my little Chiquiti, she whispered. Your father lives on through you. In that moment, she knew. Everything she endured had been worth it. The future of the empire. Months passed, and under Ada's leadership, Okafor Holdings began to shine brighter than ever. Investors returned. Projects expanded. The public saw her not as a lucky nurse, but as a visionary leader.
She established the Okafor
Foundation, providing healthcare support for elderly people abandoned by their families, her last gift to the man who trusted her. With the children working alongside her, not against her, the company stabilized into a powerful, united force. Every morning, Ada walked through the halls of the mansion, her son in her arms, whispering to him the stories of the grandfather. He would never meet a man who had suffered, loved, and finally found peace and loyalty. And every evening, she stood on the balcony, watching the sunset, grateful for the journey that transformed her life. She had fought for love. She had fought for truth. She had fought for an innocent child. And she had won. Not just wealth, not just titles, but a family. Something Chief Okafor had longed for until his final breath. Ada smiled softly. She was ready for the future. Madam Ada Chidinlimosi, CEO, mother, guardian of a legacy. The empire was safe. The child was safe. The story had only just begun. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Please share your thoughts about Chief Okafor dying wish. We will be waiting to hear from you in the comments. Please take the time to click on the subscribe button to see more of our stories. Thank you.